Well, 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 look who's back in the Premier League. I'm like a tactically astute bad smell you just can't get rid of. Yeah, I'm sticking with that. Hello everyone, welcome back to FM24 with me. My name is Chris. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all keeping cool, because I'm not. It's very hot in this office. The window's shut. There's a fan on. So if you hear a fan noise coming in at the side of the mic here, it's him. It's him over there keeping me cool. I need it. Back off. Spoilers for the last episode, but yes, we did get Sunderland promoted back to the Premier League for the first time in like 12 years, I think, something like that. We went up behind Norwich in second place, just behind Norwich in second place, and we're joined by Leeds United, who won the playoff final against Stoke. Stoke finished fourth, so I think it was first, second and third who went up, something like that, can't remember. This year the board only want us to attempt to avoid relegation, which I think makes a lot of sense, because it's going to be hard. We're up against some very, very tough teams. We played really well in the Championship, free-flowing, attacking football, but we can't really go in all like that in the Premier League, because comparatively speaking, we're shit. The season preview agrees, of course, with all three promoted teams predicted to go straight back down, which means that we need reinforcements. I decided over the summer that if we're going to survive in the Premier League, we need to bolster our defence and bolster our midfield, but we also really do need a credible alternative to our 31-year-old injury-prone right winger Patrick Roberts, who is he's so good. He performed really well in the Championship when he wasn't on the physio's table, but we need a replacement. So let's have a little look at some of the players that I've spent a lot of money on. So what do you do when you need solid defence? Yeah, you go to Italy. Welcome Andrea Papetti. Signed him for £10.5 million from Frosinone. I'm saying that wrong, I apologise. Like Daniel Ballard last season, he is that epitome for me of tough as nails, strong centre-back. Look at his physicals, his positioning's great, his teamwork's great, his decisions, he's brave, he's aggressive, not so brave, but he has aggressive heading as well, and he's only 6'1", which is a bit on the short side, I think, for a central defender, but he's good. He's Premier League ready. He is a Premier League quality player, and we needed them desperately. So welcome, Andrea Papetti. So next up, I'm trying to address the Patrick Roberts question, or trying to answer the Patrick Roberts question with Marquinhos, who is, one of those flair Premier League signings that you get to make when you're in the Premier League. Picked him up for £5 million from Arsenal. He got 17 goals and 8 assists in the Championship last season for Bristol City, which is pretty good. One of the things that drew me to him is his pace and his dribbling. Pace, acceleration, and agility, all at 16, and then dribbling at 15. If we get the ball to him and just tell him to run, we'll do well, or he'll do well, hopefully. Welcome Marquinhos. He's next to our sort of defensive reinforcements. One of them is more ready to be sort of starting games than the other, but he'll come good, hopefully. The first one, the more ready one, is Finn Jelch. So he's signed from Nuremberg for £5.5 million. He's only 20 years old. He's another one who's got the physical attributes I like from sort of defensively minded players, where they're tough and they're strong. That's his strength is only 13, but he's tough and strong. Welcome Finn. I'm just going to call him Finn, I think. And then lastly, we welcome Giacomo Faticanti, another Italian. This guy signed from Salento for £3.5 million. You can see he's not quite ready yet, but his potential is there. So I'm going to be trying to get him some minutes off the bench, some cup appearances, that sort of thing. Maybe he'll work his way into the first team squad over the course of the season. So those are the reinforcements, but we also need to make some changes tactically. Not too many though. I'm not making too many tactical changes because I don't really think we need to. The Ray of Light system that we used all last year in the Championship, not all last year, most of last year in the Championship, when I decided that we needed to be a little bit more tough on people. It's good. At its core, it's a good system. The player roles make sense. What I'm asking them to do makes sense. It's just we can't go toe-to-toe with some of these teams. So we're going to make adjustments based on the match, like a real football manager would. Crazy for me if you've watched this channel for any length of time. This guy thinks I'm terrible. He's not far off, to be fair. That Barcelona save was rubbish. So it was a tough run of games that ended my tenure at Brighton, which means it's just super cool to see the first 4 games we've got in the Premier League. Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, and United for our first games. It's just super cool. It's just cool. I'm really happy with it. I couldn't be happier. Marquinhos and Finn make their debuts in the first game against Chelsea, and it goes about as well as can be expected. The first half isn't too bad, but they absolutely destroy us in the second. They're faster, they're better, and we give the ball away cheaply. It's a bad game. There's even a Bajan out hashtag trending after the game, which I think is a little bit unfair. It is Chelsea, after all. Tough crowd in Sunderland. It's another loss against Liverpool, but it is a much better performance from us. 2-0 down after 10 minutes, only to level it up, and it's 3-3 at half time. Van Dijk makes it 4 before we equalise again, this time through a Dingra. Salah misses a penalty, which has me thinking we can maybe get out with a draw, but he then pops up a little bit later with a 5th Liverpool goal, and the game finishes 5-4 to Liverpool. It's not bad, is it? Really? We put 4 goals past Liverpool in our second game. That's better as far as I'm concerned. But it's an enormous game now, arguably the biggest one in the football calendar. The Tyne-Wear Derby. Cannot lose this one because I think I'll be in trouble. I'll be in trouble if I lose this. So for the first time under my reign, we lead a Premier League football game through a Dan Neil penalty. Bellingham doubles our lead early in the second half before Elliot Anderson pulls one back for Newcastle. Long-time viewers of the channel will know that I don't really play with a sub-goalkeeper, and that policy comes back to bite me in this game. I've seen this happen like twice, ever. So I decided to put Jarrell Kwanzaa in goal because he's tall, and that's pretty much the only sodding reason. He saves a penalty, which is amazing, but he does then let in an easy header. It's a bit of a madness, this game. There's 8 minutes of added time, and it ends up finishing 3-3. It's just, as far as Tyne-Wear derbies go, what more could you want? A central defender ending up in goal, saving a penalty, finishing like 6 goals in a time. Mad. Our stellar start to the season continues with Norwich knocking us out of the Carabao Cup on penalties, and once again, I'm not really that bothered because it means we can concentrate on the league, in which United batter us 5-1. This is a lot like that run at Brighton. It's really, really feeling pretty miserable already. I just can't seem to get any sort of defensive performance out, against these big clubs. So at the end of August, we're in 19th place with only 1 point on the board, but it's an important point. It came against Newcastle. They're going to love me for that. Probably. New month, new Sunderland. It's time to win a game of football. We're up against Fulham, and they're currently the only team in the Premier League worse than us. Of course we lose. Of course we do. We're getting relegated. We're getting relegated. We're going to sit at the bottom of this bloody league for the rest of the season. We managed to avoid defeat though in our next game against Everton, and we finally record our first win of the season with a thumping 3-1 against Villa. They score first, but 2 goals from Bellingham and 1 from Roberts means that we finally have a W on the board. These first 2 months have been a pretty tough introduction to Premier League football for us, but look at some of the scores. We put 4 past Liverpool, 3 past Newcastle. I think we've been in all of these games. I haven't won them, except for the Chelsea game and the United game when we weren't even in the stadium for those games, really. Now, all that said, I don't know what our data analysis team is smoking because they think the next game against Man City is going to be a close contest. So it's the next 3 games that I'm more concerned about. We've got Wolves, Norwich and Forest, and those are 3 of the teams that I think we could probably go toe-to-toe with. Certainly Norwich and most likely Forest. Wolves might give us a little bit of trouble, but we'll find out. There are points to be got from these games is the point I'm trying to make. Pembele gives us an early lead at home to Wolves, who equalised just before half-time. Leaving it late, though, is Jarell Kwanzaa, who rises to score the winner in the 88th minute. And then it's time for the first relegation 6-pointer of the season, Norwich. Giacomo Faticanti, making his first start of the season, gets his first ever Sunderland goal, and it's a great shot. Kwanzaa scores an own goal for the Norwich equaliser, but Rodrigo Muniz puts us back in front. That Faticanti goal, by the way, is so good it wins the Premier League Goal of the Month award, which is just incredible. And with that win, we're out the relegation zone for the first time, which is quite nice. Our next game is at home against bottom of the table Nottingham Forest. Simon Adingra shows his quality early and puts us ahead. Forest should equalise, but they put it wide, and because this is how football works when you're rooted to the bottom of the table, we go 2 up through Patrick Roberts. Kwanzaa bags himself another goal from a corner, and Finn, on as a sub, scores an absolute belter. It's a good 4-0 win though, and at the end of this run of games where we pick up the full set of 9 points, we find ourselves in 13th. Our next game is against West Ham, who have been scouting me out as their potential replacement for their manager, but I think this game puts them off entirely. It's a 0-0 draw that we absolutely did not deserve. They were all over us for that entire match, and they don't need me. They need someone else. Although Wolves are now interested as well. I don't get why. I'm not exactly good. It's another 0-0 against Leicester, but I'll take the point because a point is a point and we need all the points we get. We've not had a bad run of it, really. Wolves, Norwich, Forest, West Ham and Leicester. We haven't lost in 5. That's not too bad, really. And we end November sitting in 12th. I don't normally talk about finances in these videos because, frankly, it's really, really dull. But check this out. We're making a profit. We're actually making a profit in the Premier League. It's probably because we've got the lowest wage in the league as well, but a profit's a profit. If nothing else, if we get relegated, at least we'll have made some money. Do the fans want glory? This is glory. Or do the fans want financial stability and a future? Or both? Probably both. The board decided to reward my financial genius by giving me even more money to spend on players. 56 million now to spend in January, which is going to be fun. What isn't fun though is December. Do you remember last December where we won every single game? We were scoring goals for fun. We don't really do that this time around. There's losses to Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton. That one really sucked. And Spurs. But we do get a 2-2 against Leeds, which isn't great, but is better than losing. It's another month where we're scoring loads, but we're just not getting the wins. That is until Arsenal visit the Stadium of Light. What a sodding match this is. Incredible. We go 2 down thanks to Reece Nelson and Odegaard, but Roberts gets us 1 back just before half time. And one of those ridiculous free kick routines that I keep seeing gives them back their 2-goal cushion, but 2 goals from Rodrigo Muniz level up the game, and then an incredible 95th minute winner from Dan Neil means that we pick up an unlikely 3 points against one of the biggest teams in the country. Have that. How about that? If we can pick up a few more results like that, we're going to be absolutely fine. January arrives, and with it, so does our first South American wonder kid. Welcome, Christian Dominguez. 10 million quid, absolute bargain. He's fast, his movement is great, and just look at his value. Oh, top of the table, Liverpool beat us 2-0, which is, you know, fine, whatever. But then pissing Barnsley, beat us 3-1 in the FA Cup. And I am quite angry at this. Not just because we lose, but because the players I brought into the squad to try and build their confidence just played terribly. And Bellingham and Cody Drammer picked up pissing injuries. It's just a bad game overall, but I do make some decisions off the back of it. Firstly, Abdullah Bar is put on the transfer list, and so is Patterson. They've just both been average at best in my time here. You know, it's just not been good. I signed a new keeper because Patterson was rubbish. And I gave Patterson a chance in this game to try and get him some confidence and, you know, a bit of game experience and game time and all that sort of stuff. He's pissing 3-1 against Barnes. No, not having it. Not having it. So with Barr hopefully leaving the club, we're going to need to bring another player in on the left-hand side. So we splash the cash a little bit and we bring in our second South American wonder kid, Luca Andrade. He joins for £15 million, and admittedly, because I'm a little bit annoyed, I give him more money than he probably deserves, but I wanted this deal over the line so I don't have to play bloody Abdullah Barr anymore. It's not a complete anger signing, you know, I did look at him. He's very fast. Got good finishing, he can dribble, and he can play across the attacking trio line thing, you know, the attacking sandwich, as I sometimes call it. January continues feeling like the longest New Year's hangover ever, with further losses to Man United and Chelsea, but we do end the month with a good win against Fulham. We make one more signing before the end of the window. Halil Prendi joins us from Kukariki for £1.7 million. But he's young, and a strong breeze will knock him over, but look at those playmaking attributes. Got vision, first touch, passing, technique, decisions, flair, and he's only 18. He is going to be a monster. February rolls around and we continue to suck. There's a 2-1 loss to Everton, a 5-3 loss to Villa, a 2-1 loss to Newcastle. The fans loved that one. 3-1 loss to City, and then a 2-1 loss to Wolves. 5 straight losses see us back in the relegation zone. Norwich are our first opponents in March, and we need to win. We need to win. We're at home and we're going attacking from the off because, as I've said, we need a win, and we need it to be this game. It's an excellent first half. Goals from Simon Adingra and Dominguez put us ahead before Adeluichi adds a third. Gabriel Sara pulls one back for Norwich just before half time. The second half is really nervy. Dominguez hits the post early on and then Norwich go close not long after. They hit the post twice more in one attack, but thanks to some shithouse tactics from me, we do win the game. We needed that. We really, really needed that. Norwich are one of those teams that are in the relegation zone with us. We need to be sort of beating those teams. It's tough. This relegation battle stuff is tough. Forest are up next, and they've been rooted to the bottom of the table for pretty much the entire season. Handily, Fulham and Brentford both lose their games, which means a win will give us a tiny bit of breathing room. We do have to settle for a draw, unfortunately, but looking at the stats, I don't think we deserve to win it anyway. And a point is a point. A point is a point, and I'll take the points. Give me the points, I'll take the points. The month ends with a close 3-2 loss to West Ham. Our passing in this game was absolutely atrocious. All 3 of their games came from a misplaced pass. We're still in 15th though, so it could be worse. Now received wisdom. Was it received wisdom or common wisdom? I'm gonna go received. Received wisdom is that 40 points is usually enough to stay up in the Premier League, and we're currently on 27. So we need to find 13 points from somewhere in this next run of games. I think we should be targeting wins against Leicester, Brentford and Leeds, which feels pretty sensible. We can maybe sneak a draw against Brighton, maybe. Bournemouth are flying in 5th place, and I don't think we'll get any points out of them, or Arsenal, or Spurs. It's going to be tough trying to find 13 points from that lot, if I'm honest, but we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. Or maybe we won't. The win against Leicester obviously doesn't materialise. We go on to lose that handily, naturally. We're just not really a very good Premier League football team. Everyone's faster and better and stronger and... It's hard. It's hard. But I make a decision, which is that for these last few games, I'm just going to say piss it and throw caution to the wind. So make some small adjustments to the system. We're going with an attacking mentality, a super high line, a low block, direct passing, and we're shooting on sight because sod it, if we're going down swinging. That seems to work okay against Bournemouth. They take the lead just before half-time, but second half goal from Adingra levels it. Another from Adingra gives us a lead before Sinistera equalises it for Bournemouth. An 81st minute goal from Marquinhos seals it, but there is a late scare as Bournemouth have a goal disallowed in the 95th minute. It's another much-needed win, and it opens up a 5-point gap between us and Norwich. So here's how the relegation battle currently looks. Of the 7 teams involved, Fulham have got a very tough run, although ours isn't pretty either. I mean, none of them are nice. It's all very, very stressful. A win in our next game against Brentford would do us the world of good. We're currently in 15th place with 30 points. They're in 17th on 27 points. All we need to do is not lose this. Just don't lose it. That's it. Just don't lose. Anything else is a bonus. Just don't lose it. And that's what we do. It is an awful game though. I feel sorry for every person with eyes who had to watch that. One shot on target for each team tells you exactly what you need to know. It was just a very, very nervy game between two sides, desperate not to lose. So in related games, Norwich lose their game against West Ham, but Fulham managed to nab a draw against Spurs. Thanks Spurs, very cool. Just before our late kick-off against Brighton, we're delighted to hear that Forest, Norwich and Leeds all won their games. Just delighted, absolutely delighted. No pressure at all. None. Most exciting thing to happen in the first half is Aoichi hitting the bar with this effort. Patrick Roberts on at half-time gets the entire ground on its feet, curling in from distance. It's a fantastic goal. 2 incredible saves from Raya in the Brighton goal stop us from going further ahead, and in the end, it's Patrick Roberts' wonder strike, which secures us the 3 points and makes me feel just a little bit better about the whole them sacking me thing. A little bit better. Little bit, not a lot, little bit. Going into the game against Spurs, we know that Forest have won their game, which makes that whole bottom of the table just even more compact. We're only 6 points clear of the relegation zone with 9 to play for. A draw and other results going our way, I think, would be enough. Just about, I think. I don't often get myself involved in relegation battles because... Why don't I often get myself involved in relegation battles? I'm not very good at this game. I should be in relegation battles more than I am. Weird. Anyway, quite unexpectedly, we dominate the first half in terms of chances, but we go in all square at half-time. It's an interesting game. We're playing like the much better football team. It's almost like we've just finally clicked into gear at this very tail end of the season, but it's nice to see. And what's even nicer to see is Christian Dominguez setting up Rodrigo Muniz for our first goal. Yeah, that's right, first goal of the game. It sets up a really nervous final 20 minutes of the game, but then, late on, Christian Dominguez with a free kick. Boom. In off the bar, it's 2-0 Sunderland and we're staying up. Oh yeah, we're staying up. Oh yeah. I mean, it didn't seem likely. That run of games at the start of the season. All I can say about the next game is thank God we didn't need a sodding result here. Awful. Just awful. And then on to the last game of the season. Arsenal with nothing to play for. Us with nothing to play for, really. It doesn't go very well for us. It goes very well for Arsenal. 6-1. They beat us 6-1. Liverpool go on to win the league, and the relegated trio end up being Fulham, Leeds and Norwich, which means that of the 3 promoted teams, we're the only one still in the league. It's been a good season overall, I think. You know, the board are happy, the squad seem happy, the finances look good. I'm pretty happy. I'm not planning on going anywhere next season. You know, a 3rd season here, I think is pretty good. I think it's been a good season overall. It's been tough, like that run of games early on in the season where we just were terrible. But those little wins that were peppered in and out, you know, like the Arsenal win, the Spurs win at the end of the season when we sealed safety, winning against Brighton, you know, all these 6 points off Norwich, all of these things, you know, these little moments of yes, just joy. It's all about next season where we're probably going to be fighting for survival again, because we're going into the next season as not an established Premier League team, but someone who's sort of done it now for that first season. You know, we've got a little bit more experience under our belt. The players are going to be a little bit better from that experience. It's going to be 3 teams coming up that we can now go, probably going to get some points off those 3. So I'm going to try to shore up the tactic a little bit. I want a little bit more possession. I want our passing to be better. Probably want more good defenders and more good goalkeepers as well. You know, it's kind of what I'm working towards in the next season, in the summer, and we'll find out who we bring in to enact this sort of not revolution but evolution of the Sunderland Ray of Light system in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you back here for season 3. All the best. Cheers. Bye.